Hello guys, in this video I'm going to show you a couple really interesting things about the IllustrativeDNA. This is a very fun site to explore and use. I've spent money on it. I've bought a kit both for myself and for my mother. So, you know, it was $24 for me, $24 for my mom. I spent money into this, but it's very fun. It's definitely money well spent. This is not with the imputed file. This is the original file. So I basically just uploaded my heritage DNA file on this site. Imputed DNA file would be a little bit different from this, but this is the original file. This is the G25 with the original file. So first, let's explore this IllustrativeDNA, and I'm just giving them like free advertisement, but you know, I hope they appreciate it. This is the sample database where you basically get to look up anything you want to look up. So for example, I want to look up some kind of Bohemian Slav, right? This is a sample you're actually going to see on my channel soon. I already downloaded it. Let me show you. The Bohemian Slav is this. So you're going to see this on. You're going to see a video on him pretty soon, right? And you can see who he's closest to. He's closest to Ukrainians from Zakarpattia, followed by Ukrainians from Lvov, followed by Slovaks, followed by various Poles. So he's kind of similar to West Ukrainians, this Bohemian Slav. Let's look up something else. Let's look up Levan Lukhta. I should be able to find this. Oh, it's not here. Wait a second. Sami. Okay, it's just another Sami Iron Age is just another name for Levan Lukhta. It is most similar to Sami from Sweden, followed by Sami from Norway. This is how you use this, but you can switch to ancient populations. It is most similar to Volga Finn Iron Age, followed by Karasuk, followed by Tagar, followed by Sargat and Kimerian. So you can kind of switch between modern and ancient populations. Very interesting stuff. What else can you do with IllustrativeDNA? You can see your closest modern populations. So for me, it would be Russians from Tver at number 1. That's who I'm closest to. Followed by Russians from Kostroma, followed by Moksha, followed by Ryazan, followed by Yaroslavl. Now, this is different from what my official G25, what my G25 with the imputed file looks like. With the imputed file, actually, the Moksha is number 1 for me. And after that, it's Erzya, and after that, it's Tver and various other Russians. So there is some difference between what you're going to see with G25 for your original DNA file versus G25 for your imputed DNA file. I'm not sure which one is more accurate, but this does seem right because I am closest to Russians from Tver. I don't have any ancestry from Tver. But I guess I am most similar to Russians from Tver in terms of genetics and ancestry, right? So there is a couple of things. There's PCA plots here, so let's look at the PCA plots. And you can kind of see where you are compared to other ethnicities. So for example, this is me, this is Russians, this is Belarusians, and this is Ukrainians. I'm sort of between the Russians and the Belarusians. You can, I'm not really between Ukrainians and anything else. Finnish people are over here, Russians are here, Belarusians are here, Finnish people are here. I'm not really all that similar to Finnish people. Let's look at my mom. My mom is here. So my mom is actually closer to Finnish than to Russian. It looks like on this PCA plot she's closer to Finnish than to Russian. Let's switch to there's a way you can switch to this, yeah, convex hull. Okay, so you can see what kind of clusters she falls into. I think this big cluster is Russians. This big cluster has got to be Russians. So she does fall in the Russian cluster. She's like on the outskirts of the Russian cluster, and she doesn't really fall into any other clusters. It's just Russians. Now for me, I fall into a couple clusters. You can see I fall into the Ukrainian cluster, I fall into the Belarusian cluster, I fall into the Russian cluster, and I think I also fall into the Lithuanian cluster. So I fall into various clusters here, unlike my mother. So that's pretty interesting stuff. Despite having a Ukrainian surname, I'm actually most similar to Central Russians, and I'm just really Slavic in terms of ancestry. Very cool stuff. Now, what else can you do here? You can do genetically closest ancient populations. So for me, that's Northeast European mercenary from Chimera, followed by Estonian Iron Age, followed by Bohemian Slav, followed by By the way, I've shown you Bohemian Slav already. It's, you know, closest to Zakarpattia Ukrainians and Lvov Ukrainians. But what about the Pannonian Slav? This Slav is closest to Belarusians, Russians from Smolensk, basically a very typical East Slavic person, without any Finno-Ugric or Turkic admixture. Very interesting stuff. So there's also Scandinavian. So there's this kind of the similarity between Slavic people and Scandinavians. There is actually a lot of similarity between us, between our people groups, right? And Northeast European mercenary, that's most similar to Russians from Pskov, followed by Lithuanians, Russians Tver, Latvians, Kursk. So this is not a very northern sample, right? You'd think it's close to Pskov and Lithuanians, it might be northern, but it's not so northern because you can see it's also close to Kursk. But it's also close to Estonia. So it's more northern than Russians from Kursk, but it's less northern than Estonians. That's the conclusion I can draw here. This is how you use basically illustrative DNA tools. Now, there is modern populations mixed mode, which is kind of what you would get with Vahaduo. You can do this on Vahaduo. You don't need illustrative DNA for this. Let's do difference between Parhai and Ova Aurians. Okay, so this Ova Aurian is Hittite from Turkey, or Proto-Hittite from Turkey, and relative to the Parhai from Turkmenistan, it's more shifted towards Barsin Neolithic and various Neolithic farmers, whereas the Parhai from Turkmenistan is more shifted towards various BMAC individuals. Okay, this is how you use Vahaduo. This is a topic for another video. You can do this with illustrative DNA, but I'm not going to talk about it here. But there is something that you're not going to see anywhere else, and it's the ancient populations mixed mode. I'm going to show you that. So this is what it looks like. You get to choose, currently you get to choose between Bronze Age, Iron Age, Roman Age, and you don't get to choose Middle Ages. That's not done yet. They haven't finished this one yet. They're going to work on it. I think they're going to get it done pretty soon. They have an amazing team. They're very productive. So for me, for example, with the Bronze Age model, I'm getting modeled as a mixture of Unities culture plus Kola Peninsula. Unities culture is like a mixture between Battle Axe and Corded Ware, and it's the ancestor of Germanics, Slavs, various Northern Europeans. Very interesting stuff. It is closest to Norwegians, Swedes, Danes. That's what it's closest to, and I'm getting modeled as a mixture of that plus Kola Peninsula, which is Большой Ostrov, I think, which is most similar to Mansi, Khansi, and Siberian Tatars. Very East Eurasian mixed individual from the Kola Peninsula. Right. So let's move on to the Iron Age. Kind of, this is what I get with the Iron Age. And you can click on any of these and see what they're most similar. For example, Estonian Iron Age is most similar to modern Estonians, followed by Latvians, followed by Russians from Pskov. A very typical Northeast European today. And I'm getting modeled as a mixture, with the two-way I'm getting modeled as a mixture of that plus Philistine. And Philistine is most similar to various Southern Italians, it seems like. So this is a pretty bad fit. It's not a good fit, but this right here is a better fit. And here I'm getting modeled as a mixture of Estonian Iron Age plus Dark Age Greek plus Cimmerian. What's Dark Age Greek? Okay, it's also most similar to various Southern Italians and Sicilians, it seems like. This is kind of what it all looks like. Slab grave culture, that's interesting. That's East Eurasian. That's very similar to Mongols. It's kind of a proto-Mongol ancestry, and I have a little bit of it here. Now let's see for my mom what she's gonna get. What she's getting is actually completely different. She's getting continental Celtic plus Baltic Bronze Age plus Tokarev culture. Now, what you might not know about these Bronze Age Balts is they're actually very different from, well, not very, but they're sort of different from later Balts. They're much more northern, much more hunter-gatherer, and they have much less sort of European farmer and Caucasus components. She is closest to Latvians. Balts from Bronze Age are closest to Latvians, followed by Lithuanians, but very high distances. They're actually more northern than the Latvians, Lithuanians, and the rest. Much more northern. And Tokarev culture, what is that? That's Italmen, Karyak, Chukchi, Eskimo. That's some kind of an Eskimo culture. Very interesting stuff. Now, let's move on to the real fun things. let's move on to the Roman age, because that's what we all care about. With the Roman age, my mom is getting modeled as a mixture of Pannonian Slav plus Sami, and my mom, well, I'm going to talk about this later. I'm going to discuss her and mine ancestry a little bit later. She's getting modeled as a mixture of that plus Sami, and I'm getting modeled, I'm getting modeled as a mixture of that by Byzantine Slav plus Volga Fin, and Byzantine Slav is, yeah, that basically Ukrainian Zakarpattia. Volga Fin is basically Komi. That's what it is. I've made multiple videos on these actually, and you can find all of their raw data files on my Drive folder. Now I'm getting modeled here as a mixture of Bohemian Slav, Migration Period Balt, and Empress Ashina. Migration Period Balt is different from the Bronze Age Balt we've seen earlier. Migration Period Balt is more southern. It's more similar to Latvian. You can see the distance here is pretty close, so it's a pretty southern individual, and basically like a modern Latvian. So I'm getting modeled as a mixture of Bohemian Slav, which is basically like a modern West Ukrainian, plus basically a modern Latvian, plus Empress Ashina. And Empress Ashina, I could not find her data on European Nucleotide Archive, so you're not going to see a video on her, at least until they post it there. Maybe they'll post it there eventually, and then you're going to see a video on her genome. She was from China, but she was Turkic. I'm also getting modeled as a mixture of Bohemian Slav, Balt, and the Eastern Turk. What's that similar to? Altaian, Kalmyk, Kyrgyz. Yeah, everything you might expect. Bohemian Slav, Balt, and Han. Bohemian Slav, Xiongnu, Xianbei. Scythian Patsiric culture, Avar. What's Avar? Okay, this is some kind of, this is not good. This is not accurate, because looking at these YDNA, this is not the Avar that you'd expect to see here. This is some different Avar. So they messed up here. They should include, they messed up here. It should be like Mansi, Khanty, West Siberians. This is not right. Iron Age Scandinavian, Byzantine Slav, and Volga Fin. So I do have a little bit of this Siberian or East Asian admixture. You can see I'm scoring 5.3% Amur River. It's kind of East Siberian admixture. Xionite, I think, is okay. Bashkir, Siberian Tatar, Uzbek. So I do have a little bit of Central Asian admixture too. Western Turk, early Xiongnu, Volga Fin. Yeah, okay. Basically, they're all saying the same thing. Now let's look at my mom's results. Her closest mixture is Scandinavian, Pannonian Slav, and Volga Fin, followed by Scandinavian, Pannonian Slav, and Sami. Can we see anything interesting here? Oh, Saxon, that's cool. Anglo-Saxon. It's actually closest to Icelanders and Norwegians, not to modern English people. I should make a video on these. Alemanni, which are like Southern Germans. Southern Germans, but most similar to Norwegians. Interesting. Did not expect that. Mixed with Pannonian Slavs, which are basically Belarusians, mixed with Volga Finns. So this is what my mom's prediction here looks like. Okay. Now, I'm going to show you something cool, which is customizable modern ancestry. Basically, this is similar to what you would do with Wahadu, but it's much easier to do. So let me show you how to use it. For example, start with my mom. We're going to select all the populations that are relevant to her. She is Russian. All of her ancestors, until like 16th century, have lived in the Mariel region, the Mariel Republic, and the south of Kirovskaya Oblast. So, who lived there? What populations are relevant? We would say the relevant populations here are Slavic people, Eastern Slavic. What else is relevant there? There is also West Slavic is not relevant. Let's deselect all of them. So the relevant populations there are Eastern Slavic. Also, Mari, of course, because the Republic of Mariel, there's Mari people there. Chuvash, that's relevant. Tatar, that's relevant. Udmurt, that's relevant. Mordvin is not relevant because Mordvin is too south. She doesn't have any ancestors from Mordovia. No ancestors that lived there far south. What else is relevant? I'd say that Khanty and Mansi is also relevant because she's got some ancestors that look really Asian. At least to me, I think they look really Asian. So I'm going to include that there. Let's calculate, and this is what she's getting. She's getting 96% East Slavic, which is mostly Ukrainian Rivne, Ukrainian Volyn, and Belarusian and Russian Yaroslavl. All those groups are pretty much the same. Rivne, which is West Ukraine, Volyn, Yaroslavl, Belarusian, they all are the same. The outliers here are Russian Pinezhsky, which is North Russian, kind of like Pomor, far northern region of Arkhangelsk Oblast. These Russians from Pinega, they don't have any Slavic ancestry. If they have a little bit of Slavic admixture, but they're mostly Finno-Ugric in terms of ancestry. And Pinega, the same thing as Pinezhsky. So she's got this 17.4% Finno-Ugric, actually 20.4% Finno-Ugric admixture, and also 4% Khanty-Mansi admixture. This is what my mom is getting modeled as. Now, for me, let's select some other. For me, because I have a Ukrainian surname, so I obviously have some other foreign admixtures too, but my dad has admixture from Penza region. He has ancestry from the Penza region, close to Mordovia, so there might be some Mordvin ancestry there. He's got ancestry from Ukraine and ancestry from also Moldova. So for Ukraine, we're gonna include East Central Europe, West Slavic, because Ukrainians have some Polish admixture, and we're also gonna include something from Moldova and Crimea too, because why not? So Moldova, wait, where's Moldova? There is no Moldova. So the closest to Moldova is gonna be Romania. So I'm just gonna include that. Gagauz, I'm gonna include that. Okay, I'm also going to include Crimean Tatar, because there might be some of it in my ancestry. Okay. Now we're gonna change. Actually, we're gonna calculate for my mom first, and afterwards we're gonna change to me. This is what I'm getting. My result is actually a little bit more pure than my mom's. I'm getting 53.2% Russian from Tver, and Russian from Tver is basically like Slavic. It's not. There is no Finno-Ugric admixture there. It's basically the same as Yaroslavl, Belarusian, all the other Central Russians and Ukrainians. It's very Slavic. What I do score is 11.6% Russian Pinezhsky, which is Pomor, and Russian Pinezhsky is not Slavic at all. Russian Pinezhsky is like basically entirely Finno-Ugric. Entirely Finno-Ugric. I'm going to show you this sample later. And I'm actually getting modeled as a mixture of 31.2% West Slavic Slovakian. I'm getting some Slovakian in my result. And I'm getting 4% Khanty-Mansi in my result. I'm getting 4% West Siberian admixture in my result. So I got some Slovakian admixture, which probably comes from my Ukrainian heritage, because, you know, it's kind of the vector is going that way, southwestern way. And 4% Khanty-Mansi. Very interesting stuff. Okay. By the way, let's talk about this Pinezhsky right here. Let's get into this sample database and let's just look it up. Switch to modern and let's look it up. I'm typing with one hand. You can see it's most similar to Karelians, followed by Krasnoborsk. Krasnoborsk Russians do have a little bit of Slavic admixture, like more. Still not much, maybe like 30%, but they have a little bit of Slavic admixture. Followed by Finnish East, followed by Russians. Leshchikonsk don't have any Slavic, no Slavic admixture at all. Followed by North Finnish, followed by Kostroma, which also have quite a lot of Slavic admixture. So it's closer to Finnish people than even to Russians from Kostroma. That's very telling. And even Russians from Kostroma are not really Slavs. They're not even fully Central Russian. They're very northern shifted. They have a lot of Finno-Ugric admixture. In terms of closest ancient populations, it is actually closer to Volga Finns and Iron Age Estonians than to any Northeast European stuff. Let's look up Tver. As I told you, it's very Slavic. Let's see what Tver. Tver is closest to Northeast European. Chimera Slavic, Pannonian Slav Slavic, Iron Age Estonian, Bohemian Slav, Hungarian. It is most similar to various Slavs. And in terms of modern populations, Ryazan, Kursk, Yaroslavl, Oryol, Voronezh, Dnipro from Ukraine, Kaluga, Pskov, Ukrainian. Yeah, the Russians from Tver are basically just typical Eastern Europeans. Russians from Pinezhsk are not. Very different populations. And the Now we're gonna talk about something called customizable ancient ancestry. That's a very fun thing too. So for my mom, let's start with my mom. We're gonna select things that are relevant. We're gonna get rid of all the stupid stuff and only select the stuff that is relevant. So for her, what's relevant is Baltoslav. Well, I don't want to go in the Iron Age. I'm gonna go in the medieval time. So I'm gonna go with Baltic. I'm gonna go with, let's see, where's Slavic here? Okay, Slavic. Not BC. This one. And we're gonna choose, that's BC, I don't want to choose that. Volga, that's Iron Age, but that's kind of like late Iron Age. Turkic, that's medieval, okay. I think that's all we need. I think that's all that's relevant to her. And she's getting modeled as a mixture of 68.8% Slavic, plus 15.2% Baltic, plus 10% Volga, plus 5.4% Turkic. And it's a good fit, so it's a good model for her. Now let's see me. We're gonna switch to myself. And we're also gonna choose only the relevant populations to me, which is this. But I'm also gonna include something from the Balkans. I think that's gonna be relevant to me. From the Balkans, what do we have here? Illyrian. No, that's not it. Illyrian. I don't want to include it because it's different time frame. What can we do here? Okay, Balkans. Yeah, that's good. Medieval Balkans. That's what I'm getting. I'm getting modeled as a mixture. I'm actually better fit. It's 41.2% Slavic, 30.6% Baltic, which in my case is Viking Age. Okay, so that's not the Super Northern Balt. That's the Viking Age Balt. Okay, 14.6% Volga. Cool. 8% Baltic. Okay, cool. I mean Balkan. And 5.6% Turkic. Karakaba, which you're gonna see a video on this. By the way, I'm gonna show you Karakaba. This is Karakaba. And this is another Karakaba. You're gonna see videos on these two pretty soon. So yeah, that's pretty much all there is to IllustrativeDNA. It's a really fun company that uses G25. I love it. I think you should spend your money with this company. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.